Today I'm speaking with 𝘠𝘰𝘰𝘬𝘦𝘭𝘮, the general partner at Pulaspace, a platform focused on connecting early stage startups with investors and making early funding more accessible. Mr. 𝘠𝘰𝘬 works at the intersection of entrepreneurship, startup ecosystems, and investment readiness. Welcome, and I'm really glad you are here, Mr. 𝘠𝘰𝘬. Thank you. How are you today?
I'm very well. Thank you very much for hosting me here today. I'm very excited to have a conversation with you.
You know, I'm new to this topic: startups, entrepreneurship, business. My family doesn't really have a business mindset, and I don't come from an entrepreneurial background. And even though there is a lot of information out there for free, I even listen to podcasts, I still feel like I struggle to update my own thinking and actually apply what's publicly shared to my real life. And I wonder many times if that gap between having access to the knowledge and being able to use it, it might be one of the reasons why some people and some countries become more successful, and while
Yep.
others is stuck in poverty. And one more thing
Yep.
I would like to add: Africa, as an ordinary European citizen, a lot of what I have been exposed to about Africa is poverty, painful colonial history, and unfair relationships in global business. I know those can be like incomplete, outdated assumptions. And Africa is, of course, a huge continent, diverse, with very different realities across countries and regions. I personally visited only Morocco and Egypt, and when I was a child, I found a book in my grandfather's library called Africa. It's a travelogue written by Hans Elka and Zygmunt with many pictures. But you know, we are still talking about 1950s. So please bring me closer to your context. What is life and business really like where you are today in Botswana, right? And what change are you trying to create through your work? And how does Pulaspace, your platform, fit into that picture? I know that Pula is currency of Botswana, right? So it's a wonderful name for the platform where investment and startup meets. So please invite us and share that picture with us, please.
Yeah, so thank you very much. So you are very, very correct. I said in Africa, in Botswana to be specific, but you know, Africa itself as a continent over the years, there is more than 50 of the countries in Africa called Botswana, which is the most democratically peaceful country in the continent. One of the countries that has the leverage with the dividend of youth. I mean, the median age in Botswana, you're looking at 23 years old, and that makes probably 60% of the population. Um, it's one of the wealthiest countries that you have in Africa. You know, they produce, so poverty here is not like a real. And yeah, so I happened to launch Pulaspace in this country. And outside this country, of course, Pulaspace is also registered in South Africa and the US, because potentially I'm not new to entrepreneurship. I mean, I'm a third generation entrepreneur. My grandfather was an entrepreneur. My father was an entrepreneur. So there's no surprise that I'm an entrepreneur. So my focus with Pulaspace basically is that we build Pulaspace as an accident. So over the years, I've been working with a lot of entrepreneurs and I noticed that so as you know, a lot of it's a soft Instagram businesses. It's a different type of money. So of course, young Africans are also themselves building their own type of technologies. The question is, how are these technologies being funded? So then I noticed that 84% of the capital coming into the African continent that's funding any technology or internet-based businesses was coming from the US, was coming from the UK, was coming from Middle East, was coming from Southeast Asia, was coming from India, and so on. Then the type of money that was coming was not, like I say, bank credit money, but it was venture capital. So venture capital in places like Botswana is not an existing thing. So we are the first VC firm, venture capital firm in Botswana that has been set up to fund or raise money to be able to fund these internet-based business. So that is what Pulaspace is. So of course we just didn't start off by building the fund. We initially started off as a marketplace where it was just a Google wait list where we met. I sat down with the bank CEO and I explained to him this challenge, and then he decided to give me an angel investment check, like he gave me $20,000. That $20,000 went on to build Pulaspace.com platform, which became a platform where on one side you've got the startups, on one side you've got the investors. And these investors, they did come from everywhere, right? And then these startups, they grew from just one startup to over 1,000 plus startups in the platform. Then from the platform, we started working with international partners, investors, and now we've built the marketplace into a Pulaspace Capital. So the Pulaspace Capital is registered in Rwanda and in the US in Delaware. As you know, the reason why a fund would sit in Delaware because it's more easier for you to deploy capital out of the US into the African continent. So our ambition was then initially that the Rwandan entity that we set up becomes a special purpose vehicle where we can bring in any investment from anybody across the world, channel it through the US or channel it directly to Rwanda. And then from Rwanda, we can invest in emerging countries like Botswana, Zambia, Tanzania, Ghana, the smaller countries. So the other thing which I told you is, as part of this funding challenge that you have, Africa only attracts about $5 billion, between $5 billion going down in venture capital. So you can see that's like a drop in the ocean, or even not even a drop. I mean, that's just like a pin in the ocean in terms of VC. So places like Botswana don't get any VCs at all. Places like Rwanda, for example, get $14 million, but the 84% of the money that comes as VC into the African continent, it goes to only 4 countries. So there are 54 countries in Africa. But the money that comes in terms of VC, it goes only to 4 countries. And these are the countries that have the developed infrastructure in terms of startups, in terms of internet businesses, and they are the largest countries by size in terms of population. 1, Nigeria; 2, South Africa; 3, Kenya; 4, Egypt. So these countries are also strategically located. If you look at the region, the map of Africa, South Africa takes the largest share for Southern Africa. Kenya takes the largest share for East Africa. Nigeria takes the largest share for West Africa. And then Egypt takes the largest share for North Africa. So therefore, that means that if you are a person born or building an internet-based business in any of the small countries, you would not be able to get any investment at all. Okay, because the 84 has gone already to the well, the established countries, okay, the bigger countries, basically we call them the big four. So whatever is left, then we'll go to other countries with the larger population size, or also with a bit more dynamic and agile ecosystems. Tanzania, your Senegal, the emerging countries. So places like Botswana almost don't get. So we decided to build that problem into a problem in the US. We'll be making the call for the capital for the fund. I think we've already made the call. So anybody who wants to invest can just go on the platform and be able to invest as minimum as $10,000, and then we would be able to deploy that capital across. And yeah, so we're trying to raise about 10. My job when I wake up every morning, there's a young guy somewhere in Africa who reaches out to me, is asking. Some are like pre-seed, some are like seed, some are like Series A. Sometimes we even get young people from the US, the UK reaching out, wanting to do business in Africa, trying to figure out if we can write an investment check to them. Sometimes, of course, most of the time, not even sometimes, most of the time, we're working together with banks, telecommunication companies to try to support and run programs. We work a lot with the diplomatic Gambia across different themes like agri-tech, ed-tech, clean tech, fintech, whatever. So we're not sector agnostic in terms of our fund thesis. We are more opportunity driven. So this is what initiative, as you see, AI, of course, has replaced the code. So one of the things that we do is that business, you need a skill. And that skill is either you know how to code, or 100 coding clubs across program. And that's why our interest to partner with the Rehan School, because we've seen their call for AI, and the Rehan School, I think, is a model school that would be great for places like this emerging country. The power of code, the power of AI, the power of skills that cannot be learned over the internet. They can then become global citizens. So as a global citizen, then they can be able to connect with other young people. So maybe that's
Yeah, I would really like to go back to your company. What's that micro investing on your platform in practice? And if I'm a founder with a startup, what are the steps from hello to getting money? And if I'm investor, what are the steps from hello and investing?
So that there are different steps to it. So the reason why we call it micro
Small
investing is because we're in a micro economy. Yeah, so it's really micro because I don't know what is the population in Pakistan, but the population in Botswana is like the whole country is 2.5 million people.
2.5.
Okay, so with 2.5 million people is the whole population of Botswana. In Zambia, for example, 16 million. In Rwanda, 21 million. But you go to a place like Nigeria, there's 300 million people. So you see, that's not a small microeconomy. That's a large economy. So the small economies, which are our target for the program with Pulaspace, you don't have young people that need $1 million to start a startup. You have young people or talent that need maybe $1,000, $2,000, $10,000, $100,000. maximum $250,000 to start. So the concept of micro means exactly that. It's aligned to the size of the economy, because in the city that I live, there's only 400,000 people. In the capital of Botswana, where I live, it's not imaginable. That's the size of a village.
So that's why you actually focus on that angel and seed funding, or do you also focus? Are there also startups that need later stage funding? Can please put light on what your country problems are?
So here's the thing. In these markets, because the population is small, the economies are small, that means the development is also late. It's not like fully developed economies. Most of the people are building idea, or what we call pre-seed. These are idea stage companies, seed stage companies, and scale-ups. Sometimes, if a company has scaled maybe from South Africa to Botswana, they're scale up. But again, if they come in a small geography, they're micro startup. They need micro investing. Because also with venture capital, which is the space you're playing in, when you're talking venture capital, you're talking large amounts of money, not like $10 million, $5 million. That's more for venture capital. Because venture capital is known with large amounts of money, $5 billion, $3 million, $1 trillion type of money, right? So what are you going to do? Give like a young person in Botswana $1 trillion. What are they going to do with it? That is not even the size of the GDP. So it's crazy. But in Silicon Valley, that's
makes sense.
The type of money that startups raise, right? They exit and they succeed. So we don't deal at all with companies that are like Series A, Series B, Series C, Series D. No, we don't. We only handle pre-seed or pre-Series A. If you are pre-Series A, you make qualify. So that means you ask for anything $10,000 to $250,000 in tech or money from the angel investors. So the angel investors themselves are people that are small. Meet an angel investor in a place like Botswana, that will be somebody giving you a check of $1,000 of their own money. They're prepared to lose that money. So the culture of angel investing or family offices. Because through family offices, you can transfer knowledge, you can share money, you can share networks. We do what we call capital approach. So, and more importantly, also what we're intentionally doing is doing the cross-border. Startups in Pakistan or India or somewhere else can work in Botswana digitally without being in Botswana. Like now, we can with the support of the infrastructure of Rehan, why is based in one. If you compare it, it doesn't look like its impact, but in the real world, it that's how the world is moving. Because you should be able to just not design another Silicon Valley. You can partner with a country that has entrepreneurs that have done it. You just copy the model and you partner, you share the value, you share the profits. That's it. So shared value is part of the goal of what we do with the partnerships.
What's the hardest part of building a platform like this, or the startup in your region, in your ecosystem? What's missing? Is it tech skills, business skills, confidence, mentorship, or some obstacles like laws, government?
So there's two answers to this. So obviously, talent is a big problem because, I mean, when I say talent, I'm talking about tech talent. So if the young guy in India has been exposed to AI when he was in grade 1 or standard 1, and the guy in Africa is going to learn about coding at university, who's going to be competitive? Who will be a better person to deliver to me if I open an internet company? Look at all the big companies: Facebook, Google, Twitter, 𝘱𝑔𝑝𝑡. They're run by talent from India or Pakistan or from where. You know why? Because these countries have, in the early ages, started exposing the talent to the right opportunity. So places like Botswana, for example, don't have curriculum on coding and AI. It's not yet in the curriculum. So children have to learn AI and coding like it's an after-school program. How does it work? How will a child be competitive? How will a child like that, who's never programmed a robot, be able to compete and work in a Tesla factory? How? When they're going to only meet the robot at the university for 4 years, when the other child in India have been seeing the robots when they were from primary school all the way to university. You see? So we have to look at that. The other thing that you have to look at is capital, because of course you've seen a lot of young people build technology ventures, but you need money. You're not going to fund, like I told you, the challenge of funding is very serious. If you're only getting 5 billion as a continent, what is a country like Botswana getting? Zero. So you need to start educating around angel investing, family offices, venture capital, because that's how you can fund technology. So if a young guy is in primary school and he develops an entire school system, do you think that guy, if he took that system to a bank, the bank will fund it? No, they will never. But if a farmer is producing tomatoes and goes to a bank, they'll get funded. Does Africa need that? Does it have advantage with that? No. Africa has advantage with the young people, so they can get their young people on coding. It doesn't matter if it's Botswana or whatever, but that is the other challenge. Then lastly, of course, government also is the problem, because you need to educate people a lot. How many people do you find in the world who are like Rehan? So governments have to start respecting entrepreneurs. Like in America, entrepreneurs are respected. They're given the highest level of recognition and support. But in other countries, a person like me is seen as a threat. So, but they can partner and create impact, like solving the problem of education in places like Botswana, Africa. It should be entrepreneur-led, because the entrepreneur, yes, they want to make the money, but they know other entrepreneurs. Like now, why should I try to create a new AI school when I'm already connected to Rehan, who's running more than 100 AI schools? Why shouldn't I just take the model, copy and partner? So government has not created systems which allow for cross-border, cross-continental partnerships. Startup diplomacy is a problem. Why, when we have conversations with diplomats of Pakistan or India or whatever, we always have a challenge with educating around the importance of tech and tech diplomacy, because in the past, diplomacy was around moving food and all that, but now diplomacy is about people. It's about global citizenship. So, yeah, and then lastly, the mentorship part, I have to agree with you, because young people in Africa is the new continent. People have to be mentored. So they have to pick the right mentors that they need, from government all the way to myself. I'm lucky because I'm connected on the internet. I connected with Rehan on the internet. We talk on using internet. None of us are not convinced that to thrive, we need to connect with other entrepreneurs because they're like us. So, yeah, so without intentionally building the entrepreneur community, you're going to be stuck. And this is why we're stuck.
Mm-hmm. Yes. In Europe, people often say that it's a highly regulated space with strict rules and laws, and that's why it's kind of slow in innovations. European Union also tries to regulate artificial intelligence and large technology giants like X, other social media. So partly because of concerns around propaganda and manipulation, I personally see this a positive step, like when we created traffic laws, when cars were invented, We also maybe need some framework for powerful technologies. But in that context, how do you verify the information provided by investors and startups at Pulaspace? What criteria you use, for example, to reject a startup? What tells you that the founder is ready? And looking at Botswana or Africa more broadly, it's different from EU. And where do you see that right balance between letting innovation breathe and regulating it? How much regulation is helpful, and when does it start to slow things down? How do you see that? Is it even needed, the regulation in your country?
Yeah, so I don't know if I lost you or what happened there, but we we rely on a system of seeing the entrepreneur. I go and my job is to have sit down and have coffees with entrepreneurs. My job, that's my job. So there is no other complicated way. So the entrepreneur come, they meet with me virtually. I see them using video like this. They present their pitch deck in 10 slides. I look, I send to my team. We discuss. Do we see opportunity? Yes or not? We make the introduction to the angel investor. Full stop. The angel investor's job is to make a bet. Is not to tell the entrepreneur there's innovation or not. No, that's not their job. Their job is to deploy money, right? Give money. Our job then is to after the money is given to the fund, we can now manage the relationship between the investor and the entrepreneur. Then when both of them make money, we take our money, the investor take their money. It's very clear that we sign what we call a SAFE. A SAFE is a simple agreement for future equity. It's an instrument that is created in the US. So we take that, we customize it to the law of the country. We attach legal laws like of that country. We incorporate. We make sure there's a lawyer, there's accountant. We even take a board seat. If we don't take a board seat, we bring in people in our network that we know to take a board seat on the company so they can give us fair advice. Our job is to bring ideas to life. Our job is not to tell the young person if there's innovation or not. Our job, like this week, we have a young lady working on taking waste from the water treatment plant, converting it into electricity like biogas. And our job, I personally know the CEO of the Water Utilities Corporation in Botswana. So I called him on the phone. I said, there's a young entrepreneur. They don't need money. They need to do a proof of concept. Can you set up a meeting with your team? What we call corporate venture capital. So we have a meeting. We present. So now we made the presentation this week with the young person. We tell them about the innovation pipeline. So incubation, acceleration, and so on. The young person came with the use case and to say this is what they want to do. Now, out of that, we achieve already the interest to partner. They provide $100,000 for us to run a program and find young people like this one with the biogas, so they can go on some program like a venture studio model. We run the program. Once the entrepreneur is investor ready and the POC is proven, we go to the angel investor. We bring the angel investor into the company. The company goes to market. If the corporate wants to invest, they can invest. Okay, there's a company born. Simple as that. Okay. The other thing is that a lot of technology is new to governments and economies. So the problem that a lot of people try to do is once they see something new, they create regulation. And I don't think regulation promotes innovation. Regulation creates innovation. So what countries should do, they should look at like what Singapore did, like you create what we call sandboxes. If some young person creates an educational technology that replaces the teacher, like for example, Rehan School is a threat to ordinary schools, because one, children run the school, like you told me, right? You don't want qualified teachers, because qualified teachers, they bring in a model of own thinking that you don't understand, that destroy even the innovation you need. So something like that can be seen as a threat, because it does not conform to the rules. It break all the rules. So what do? If I create a payment system that kills the opportunity to load on my phone, but creates just a simple QR code where you can pay, like Google Pay and so on. So you think you would ever had Google Pay? That's why most countries, like emerging countries, don't lead. Because the first thing they do when they hear of innovation, they want to regulate. You see, ChatGPT, when it was created, everyone knows it's a threat. Everyone knew is a threat. But instead of treating it as a threat, what should happen is you embrace it. You part as government. You come, you study it. Like the only country doing this in Africa is Rwanda. Rwanda is the only country where you can bring a new technology that is not understood, and they allow you to test it and they license it later. We, for example, wanted to launch a microfund. Nobody understands what is a microfund here. There is no license for a microfund. So we failed in Botswana, we failed in South Africa. So we had to go to Rwanda. And in Rwanda, very easy, 6 hours it took to register the company. One meeting it took just to register us inside the Kigali International Financial Center. They gave us a waiver. They tell us these are the rules. We are aware of what you're trying to do. We have understood. There's no regulation for this. There's no policy for this. We're not going to bother you, but you can go inside the sandbox, pay like $5,000. We will be monitoring you for 2 years while you're doing your fund. If it works out, great. We'll then think of a license. But now we're not getting on your way. So that is the model that I think should be done to promote innovation in Africa or in other developing countries, because you have many young people trying from primary school who want to try new ways of learning, new ways of farming. Like I learned now there's a young person who came up with a technology that can tell you, like before you buy a piece of land, what the land was used for the last 50 years. The technology is called FarmPin. You think that young guy he can launch from Africa? No. The young guy who came up with the technology of how to make, because of the dryness of Africa, is like place like Botswana, there's a desert. That guy can do something to the sky and he make it rain, like artificially created rain, like what they have in Dubai. So you think innovative ideas like that can thrive where, if every time you hear of an innovation, you want to ask, is it regulated? Regulation will kill that thing before it works. Okay? I'll give you one last example. We have one young guy who created an agri-tech technology called 𝑚Agri in Botswana. He's the first one to raise money from Google, called 𝑚Agri. These guys, using a simple phone, they created the next frontier communication platform for farmers. They've got over 1 million farmers in Botswana, on their platform, Botswana alone. They are trying now. They've gone to DRC, they've gone to other countries, Francophone, with Orange, with the telephone. They don't have a license here in Botswana, because you are licensed them as what? We have the policy that explains how to license an agri-tech. In Rwanda, we have young guys that were developing the solution to transport medicine using drones. No one, in the first time in Africa, they said it's not possible. But now Rwanda is now the case point. If you want to do the drone for health tech, you have to talk to them, because they are the case point. They've done it and they've succeeded. Other countries now are joining after 10 years. Imagine, after 10 years of saying no, now how many lives you would have saved, and how much efficiency you would have received. Then lastly, I can give you the case point of really to say you have to, I think, as different countries study that technology always have to be embraced. It's important to embrace technology. It's important to embrace internet-based companies, because those are going to be the future. Like now with AI, if you're not using AI every day, there's a problem with you. Like if you wake up and you didn't use AI, you are part of the problem, because you're going to like the amount of efficiency I can get with an AI on my phone. Otherwise, I have to call like 100 people to give me information. So every country now must worry about telling the AI the local language to understand. That's the next fight. About the AIs, the ethical AI, that the AI can increase and solve so many problems. Will the AI replace the doctor? No. But the doctor that does not want to learn about AI will be replaced by the AI. But the AI also cannot replace empathy, skills like, mental assessment. It can't. So there should be some way of thinking around those other elements of strength as opposed to regulation.
Thank you for those examples of the startups. Were they funded by your platform? The ones you mentioned? What kind of collaboration can you imagine with Rehan School?
With the what?
What kind of collaboration can you imagine with Rehan School? What projects you like
So
about it?
for me, I think we want to partner with, because now we're already working on an initiative called AI for Botswana. My goal and mission is to get 100,000 young people in Botswana to learn AI with Rehan School. And then after the young people, 100,000 have learned AI, maybe get 10,000 of them to start AI startups. Then for the 10,000, I need to lower it to find about 1,000 investable AI startups. Then lastly, I raise about another further 100,000 digital jobs for the out of 1,000. Then I get about $100 million fund, VC fund, which can fund the 1,000 startups as a 3-year project, so that I become the person that has created the next layer for Botswana in terms of contribution to GDP using technology, startups or internet businesses. Then finally, my vision is that there must be something similar to Dubai Internet City, Shenzhen in China, like a digital free zone where these businesses, they will live, partner among each other, cross-pollinate. But this is what my mission is. But for Rehan School, very simple with this mission: start with the talent, train the talent. It's not going to be about training the guys that will create it now. It's about 3, 6, 9-year plan, where we can from 3 years see one success. After that, it multiplied times 10, like that. So I think this is my mission and hope to launch the AI for Botswana using the infrastructure from Rehan School as an initiative. And by my goal for this year is to get at least 100,000 young people in Southern Africa to learn AI through Rehan School, and maybe have like 100 schools, operating across Botswana, Zambia, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Malawi, Namibia, Mozambique, Swaziland, Lesotho. So why not? It's possible because I have the internet and I know people in those countries. So I just have to find people who are like me, who believe in this mission and who want to make it work. And of course, we'll make money. We'll make money, but money is not the goal. The goal is to be able to create the next layer of system that controls the economies. Nobody must come in and not know our name when they enter those countries. That is the power that I seek.
Thank you. You answered actually my question. I wanted to ask, where do you see yourself in 2-3 years? So thank you for answering that as well. Is there anything you would like to add we didn't talk about?
I think I can just say Africa is open for business. Africa has got 54 independent countries. Africa is wide and open.
How do you see African Union? Is it useful, African Union?
I think we have to create a new African Union that is digitally native ran. So that's why I told you about creating the next layer. Because when you create the next layer, you replace the old. So I cannot talk about the old because I don't know what vision it was formed on. I cannot relate with it. It's got, like, I know about the name, but I never meet anybody with my own eyes since I was born from that organization. And I don't understand the mission, So the mission may have been ran over by time. So the next thing is that we need to succeed with the internet business, having, 10 young people in each country in Africa with a company with a $1 billion valuation, that's a unicorn. Those are the people who will make the decision about the next phase of the African Union. And I think it must be faceless, it must be internet based, it must not just be politics alone. It must drive economy. And I think this is where the startup diplomacy comes in to say, one of my missions is to become a startup diplomat, really a diplomat for connecting the young people in particularly the youth dividend in the different countries, in India, in Pakistan, in Bangladesh, to connect them to Africa, because I think they have a lot they can bring to the table for Africa. That connection of talent, don't take it for granted. That is the biggest opportunity you can do. Like, you see me and Rehan, we connect, we make decision, we do business. Simple. No barrier, no government, no whatever. We start. Simple. So the sharing of knowledge, if we make the money, and the agreement itself is the trust. The trust is the currency. The trust is the authenticity to do something virtually and keep that thing of paper sign agreement is a waste of time. Because if I'm going to cheat you, I'm going to cheat you. But if I'm going to believe in your mission, we can be together for 50, 20, 30 years. That is the model that has succeeded for me, is the model where we will get happy when we see somebody start from nothing and become something. It doesn't matter what passport they carry. It doesn't matter what race they are, but the fact that they empower themselves in the community. So we must share these tools among each other to win as a people.
I hope and wish there will be less obstacles in this work of yours, and in this building the soil for growing this problem-solving mindset in Africa. Wish you good luck. And thank you, Mr. 𝘠𝘰𝘬. This was genuinely valuable. I'm grateful you explained the real story, reality, what's hard, what matters, what people often misunderstand from the outside. For everyone watching, my biggest takeaway, I think, is that early stage funding isn't just money. It's a whole system, starting with education, ending with the right support at the right time. So thank you for making that visible, Mr. 𝘠𝘰𝘬. Thank you again for your patience and clarity, and for sharing your vision with us.
Thank you very much, and you're sincerely welcome. And for those that would like to connect with me, I'm always easier to reach on Facebook. My full name's 𝘔𝘰𝘰𝘬𝘦 𝘠𝘰𝘬𝑛𝑦𝑒. I guess you'll flash it on the screen. And then you can look me in LinkedIn. I'm always happy to connect.
Yeah, I will add useful links in description. Those who wants to learn more and give support. Yes.
Yeah. And we would appreciate, if people at least follow our LinkedIn page, Pulaspace, to get more insights. Because yes, that you talk to me, I'm the founder, but there's a team of brilliant young people working with me. More than 10 of them in Botswana alone, some of them in India, some of them in Bangladesh, some of them in Kenya, in Nigeria, some of them in Rwanda. And we have global partners. So there's a lot of shared value that we can do. And I'm very, very, very looking forward to making this partnership with Pakistan work. I know a couple of friends in Pakistan, if I can make this work with them, and I think we can make things work with even other places where we see the need for support and for partnership.
Yeah, indeed. It will be beneficial for both countries, communities.
Yes. Yes, yes.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much, Mr. 𝘱𝘰𝘬𝘧𝘰. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.